Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's Coach Chris from AccuTrader.net coming at you on Wednesday, August 28th, 2024 at 5:44 p.m. Central Daylight Time. The markets have just reopened about a little less than an hour ago for the night, and we've got a big gap down. Nvidia released its earnings, and you'll see that later on this chart after the market, and they weren't received too well. It clawed back a lot of it, but I haven't looked at the details of what they announced, but it added a lot of volatility, which was nice this afternoon. So, recording this video for educational purposes only. Trading is risky, and you can and probably will lose money. Most people do. But those that study hard and learn how to trade can be very successful. So, quick update before I get into the market recap. What you're looking at here is a 5-minute chart of the MNQ, the Micro E-mini NASDAQ 100 futures, which expires in September of 2024. And I've got the AccuTrader.net indicators on here because I'm working on an update, and I've been doing some testing on it. I'll do some more testing over the weekend, and hopefully I'll be able to release it next week. So those of you that do own the system, I'll be able to, I'll contact you as soon as it's available, and you'll have to download and install, but I'll give you specific instructions and a video on how to do that. So what it is, I'll turn it on here using the settings and show you what it's all about. So right now, the way that our algo works is once you receive a triggered entry in a given direction, you will not get another entry trigger in that same direction until you get a trigger of the opposite direction. And I'll show you later. That may not make sense to some of you that aren't familiar with this. So what I've done is, and I've created what I'll call a re-entry system. These X's that you see here, what those represent is a recommended take profit if you entered the trade. So let's say you entered the trade here when we got the down signal. That's at 5 in the morning Central Daylight Time. You'll see right here it recommended that you take profit here, here, and here. Well, there was such low volatility and movement in the market at that time, you really wouldn't have made a lot of money. What did it finally get? 50 points there. This one was 26, the first take prior target 23, which is not untypical of pre-market, but it's surely not what we're looking for if we enter a trade, right? And so what I've done is I've in the past told people that one of the ways that they can use to re-enter a trade in the same direction without getting another primary entry trigger is when the candle separates from this basis bar, which is this red bar here. I call it home or the basis. That's where the price wants to retreat back to. When it comes back and wicks into that basis bar, then you are eligible for another entry in the same direction. And it's hard to see this first one because I've got this vertical bar. I'm going to take this off. I put that on there because that was the open, the New York Open at 8:30 Central Time, but we don't need that anymore. So what I've did is I've programmed another algo into here so that when we wick through the basis, that will trigger a red down arrow or green up arrow, depending on the direction of the trade, that will signal you can re-enter the trade. The only thing that I'm going to say is if you do re-enter, use the same stop loss parameters, which is the edge of the cloud, but I would re-enter at reduced position size. I would enter at half of your normal position size or one contract, whichever is greater. Because normally we will get a bounce, but there are some days where we just don't have enough energy in the market that you're going to see a big push. Today we happened to, and I'll show you, we actually got quite a bit of push, multiple pushes even. Normally you won't see a huge rejection if the market doesn't have enough power behind it. So here it wicked through, and so it printed this down arrow, which would have allowed you to get back in. And just for instance, that trade, say you got in at the top of that one, that trade is 100 and some point trade, that otherwise you wouldn't have got triggered into unless you were on a this is a 5-minute chart. If you were on a slower time frame, it may have given you another signal, but since it was the same direction, you may not have. So here was another trade you'd pick up. This is strictly optional. You do not have to do these optional reentries. But if you're seeing separation like this, see how it bounces down nice and you're far away from the cloud here? Then what happens, it pulls down to a total, it's over 100 points, let's just say, right here at the peak, 111 points. And then what happens, it pulls back and it wicks through that basis line again, and we get another big push. I'm going to go worst case entry, and here you can see there's another take profit banger, 200 over 200 points. So you'd have got 100 here plus 200 more. That's 300 points in what this was. This re-entry was right at the market open. The second one was an hour after market open, and then at this point was 10:15. So this would have been a 45-minute trade. This would have been a 5, 10, 15, 20-minute trade. And you'll notice we didn't take any heat at all on this one. This one, it pulled back a little bit, but never ever approached where our stop limit would be, which is what we recommend is the edge of this gray cloud. Now, since I'm in this area of the chart, I do want to go back 1 minute and also point something out. During times of low volatility, you'll see how the candles are hugging that basis line, and that cloud shrinks down based on the size of the candles. We don't want to trade during those environments because we're just not going to get any push in either direction. And what's going to end up happening, you're just going to get chopped out. The system doesn't know, it triggers a sell, but it doesn't know how much the market is going to react. No one does at that time. The market doesn't even know, or the participants don't know. All it knows is that the condition is right, and that all indications are we're going to start a downtrend. And we did. We started a really nice downtrend, but because of the low market participation at that time of the day, there was no buyers to continue driving the thing down. Okay, so there's the other. So that's going to be the update. Now, having said that, it is possible that on these re-entries, you may get a false positive. Like here, and I'm trying to figure out why this is, but it's giving me two triggers, and that happens in a couple of cases. I may not be able to eliminate that. Just know that if you have that set, you're kind of using, this is for more advanced traders, you're going to have to use a little discretion on the trades you take, knowing that there could be some false positives mixed in. But when you see this nice separation like this from the cloud and the basis line, you can be pretty assured that you're going to get, a bounce. I'm going to just turn these signals off so they don't distract us. You go right in here, and then it's under these shapes here. I'm going to try and rename it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to or not. Now you can see they're turned off, those additional bands. Going to move this out of our way as well. Look how wide this cloud separated off when we were getting these big down bars. So you'll see then at 10:30-ish, we had a slow retreat back to the basis line. It tried to push down again, got rejected right at the edge. There was a lot of sideways consolidation through here, and it just couldn't break through really in either direction. And at this point, I thought the day was over. I'm thinking, well, there's no real major news until after the bell. We're still under a day or summer trading rules, big holiday weekend coming up. I think the rest of the day we're probably just going to see a lot of consolidation and back and forth price action. But we got a few fireworks. We did get triggered into a long here at 11, a little after 11:30. I didn't trade this one because I had really nailed this morning. I mean, I can't believe what I did this morning. But this chart is very deceiving. I'm just going to close this up. That opened up somehow. This trade actually went for 50 some points. Okay, within 5, 10. And no heat. It never pulled back after we entered here. You can see we got in, it pulled back to our original entry, but never really below it. And then we got a really nice big candle and then a couple of wiki candles. We've been seeing this is a very hard market to scalp, and I've been scalping all week. And what you'll see is it'll go up and then pull back real quick. And if you don't time that right, I mean, you can turn a green trade into a red trade in an instant. And then look at we got a huge down candle, more consolidation, and then finally at 1:45, we got a down. I caught which one? I missed this candle, but I got like 3/4 of this, and I was on a full NQ contract. I think I made $600 on that one trade alone. And it really kind of shocked me because we were kind of reversing here. And I thought, well, there we go. It's going to start creeping up till after hours, till Nvidia announces earnings. But boy, did we get a banger here. Here again, it's very deceiving. Let me just measure this out. I'll measure from the top of that candle. Yeah, another 130 point trade. I mean, it just boom, and it was quick. 5, 10, 15. See, that's what I like about this indicator is you know right away, or pretty much when trading to 5 minute, if you're in it and we get a nice separation, this thing is going to react. I mean, that is the one thing. If we've got enough volume and market participation, I just cannot get over it. Now, eventually you're not going to have to rely on it because you're going to learn how to spot this price action on your own. And I'm putting up a lot of technical analysis videos in order to teach you that. So when you see those come up, with trading, there's a lot of terminology that people use, and the prop firms use it too. And I won't say it's to confuse people, but I guess every industry has their jargon, but, for the average person who's not been investing, they come in and they hear, oh, I swept the liquidity just before that order break coming off a 5-minute FVG. Well, what the hell does that mean? You know what I mean? And people throw around terms and it's just like, whoa, this is too much. So I'm going piece by piece for you, and hopefully over time and practice, you'll be able to pick that up. So we got that huge down trade. Then we consolidated again for almost, I'd say, close to an hour. Huge up bar. I thought this bar was actually going to trigger us into a trade, but it didn't. It pulled back just a little bit. And then on the next candle, we got another really nice trade. I didn't I traded it, but I took a real short profit because honestly, I didn't know where this market was going. I couldn't believe we were starting to see these big moves in both directions. And it was like, wow, this is really nice. It was, like I said, I had a huge day today going both directions. I had no bias whatsoever as far as up, down, sideways. I just followed the price action and I was rewarded. So, for instance, this trade, it's super deceiving. There's 80 points in 2 bars. And if we'd have included this one, I think we'd have got another 100-pointer. Let me just see if from the base of this to the top. Oh, yeah. 140 points. I mean, folks, let's face it, okay? Don't get pissed off if you don't get every penny. You're never going to get every penny. You're never going to make a perfect entry and get out at the absolute top. And if you do, it's a once-in-a-lifetime event. And to be quite honest with you, you don't have to. Don't worry about it. There's no need to get all bent out of shape and get all psychologically twisted up. You don't need to get every tick, okay? There's going to be another trade coming up. There's going to be practice trading well, where you're consistently getting profits. Once you're consistently getting profits and getting paid by the prop firms, okay, then you can do one of two things. You can try and tweak it a little bit if you think you're missing out in some areas. Say your entries are bad or you're taking profits too early, or you can size up. I advise everybody to start with micros. I still trade micros 90% of the time in this market with these whippy, you have to control your risk. And the only way by doing that, because with a 10-to-1, ratio, you can really, with just 5 micros, that's $10 a point. You can make some very serious money. Plus, you can scale in and scale out. Except for Apex, they don't want you dollar cost averaging, which I understand. But so start with one. Start with one contract, $2 a point. A 100-point move is $200. And we had 3 of these already, you know what I mean? So that would have been a $600 day just with one contract. Once you're proficient and you're not mentally all twisted up with the money, and you can concentrate and take your time, let the trade play out, okay? Once you can do that, and then you can scale up into additional contracts. Okay, and additional accounts, right? Because you're going to want to copy trade over multiple accounts. That's how we all get really rich, okay? So that's it. And then here's the other thing, and I haven't mentioned much of this. Journal, okay? At the end of the day, make a few notes. Hey, I did this great today. Geez, or else, hey, I was really off today. If necessary, take a screenshot. There's all kinds of software tools out there that can help you with it. Or if you're consistently running into a problem. My memory, I got so much going on in my life that I don't remember a lot of things. By the time tomorrow comes, I don't remember every trade I took the day before. But if I journal it, I have the time to sit down when the market is closed. I have a clear head, and I can start to see patterns, things I'm doing good, things I'm doing bad. That's the only way we can improve. Otherwise, we're very often not honest with ourselves, which is stupid. But if we truly want to improve, this is what professional traders do. After every trade, they're journaling. Either, I know my friend Dakota, he journals right on his screen or using the Top Step X platform. So it's right there, And it's a really smart idea, and that's why he's a top trader. So let me just finish up because I got a couple other important things I want to touch on. So then we've got more consolidation, and we're starting to come into the close. This bar obviously is a close. So we're starting to come into the close, and I could see they were kind of setting everybody up or positioning for this big earnings announcement after the close. So you see what they did. They went up here. They're way above the cloud. I mean, they had a lot of separation from the basis line here. They pulled it back at, what is that, 5 minutes to 3. Okay, 5 minutes before the close, they pulled it back and consolidated along this basis line. They went to a neutral point, and that's what these guys do. They'll either go to basis or VWAP or whatever their algos are basing off of, or their price parameters are basing off of. They'll get back to a comfortable neutral position prior to any news. Now, a lot of these guys probably to be quite honest, knew what the numbers were going to be. But here's what happened. So Nvidia was going to announce, like, I think a quarter after, anyway, after Top Step closed at around 3:15. So I went to my private brokerage account on NinjaTrader, and I had a feeling that Nvidia maybe was going to disappoint a little bit. I don't know why. I guess just because the thing can't continue to always give good. So what initially happened here, they started the announcement, and this is pretty typical of any news event. So they started to run this market up, which this candle here, I mean, that's a 45 point. And I was sitting on the sidelines in my personal account because I've traded earnings before. And what'll normally happen is the algos and the news and stuff, they'll have an initial reaction to whatever the event is. They scan different words of the release, and so they're just reacting. They're not necessarily making smart moves, but they're programmed in such a way that they're just reacting. So they drove it up, and all of a sudden it was like the bottom was let out. Now, what I normally do on a retracement like this, I wait till they're at least halfway down that candle, and I know there's going to be some continuation. Okay, I don't know it, but based on my experience, what you don't want to do, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. You don't want to see them come down basically just maybe a quarter of the way into this, and then they'll wick down like it's going to go, and in 1 second, boom, they'll just jam it right up where, and you're stuck holding the bag. So it was right around here. I got short in my private brokerage account, picked up $280 or some dollars, trading very small because just as fast as it goes down, it can turn around on you. So, and then I got another nice push down. I got in and I just trailed my stop down. I think I made another probably 500 to 600-ish on that bar. I know I left a lot on the table, but greedy. I gave up being greedy a long time ago. I learned the hard way. Big push down. That candle on the Nvidia announcement was, I'll not include the wick, 180 points. Okay, so that's $360 if you'd have held one micro through that. So they push it down. Then the next 5-minute bar opens. And this is what I'm talking about, okay? Look what they did. Okay, they pushed it down, but then it retraced. And you can see here, they retraced to the tick right back to that basis line, okay? And I thought they were going to get a full retracement. So this wick right here is a 100-point wick. Absolutely insane. And then they sucked it right back down into that candle. You can see there was a test of these wicks on this side. That got up. Yeah. You can go back to these wicks over here in this candle. And I'm sure probably earlier in the day that was a point of resistance, and they went right to that. And then they brought it down, and then it got back up to the basis. I had stopped trading after this candle. I said, I know what's going to happen. This thing is going to, it's going to start bouncing around, and I don't want any part of it. It's either going to retrace all the way, keep going, or just consolidate. and anyway, it was getting closer. I also didn't want to get stuck in a trade upside down because on my private brokerage, if I hold a position past 4 o'clock Central Time, my margin requirements per contract, they have special day trading margin. If you hold it past 4 o'clock, I forget what it is, or they will automatically liquidate your position at normally not favorable prices, by the way. So always, whether you're a futures account, a prop firm or a brokerage account, make sure when the market is ready to close, you close out your position. So then what they did is, you can see here, this is when the market reopened. You can see a really nice gap down there. Let me just see what that was. Almost 40-point gap down. And it's been pretty much just consolidating sideways ever since. So there you have it. Quite a day, guys. Really, really I thought a really nice trading day. Now, tomorrow we get more fireworks. Not only will investors be digesting those Nvidia earnings, at 7:30 we got a slew of some pretty important financial data. And what I use forexfactory.com's calendar for all of my news events. And what they do is, on their calendar, they have a folder to the left of they have the way to the left is the time that the news is going to be announced. And it's always in Eastern Standard Time. So at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 Central, they have a series of folders that represent for each of the news events, and the color represents the importance. And so if you see what's called a red folder item, those are high impact news. That's news that's going to probably affect the market fairly dramatically. And tomorrow we get the preliminary GDP, quarter over quarter, and unemployment claims. And so I think what most participants are looking for is confirmation that first rate cut by the Fed is going to occur at the September meeting. I think everybody's pretty much pricing in that we're going to get some type of a rate cut. We just don't know if it's going to be a quarter basis point or a half basis point. And it's before the election, of course, they're going to pump that thing, get out of here. So this will be interesting. And then, what really kind of ticks me off is they've been releasing these numbers, and then right before the next announcement, they revised the numbers. And last month, they revised one of them by almost 1 million people. So, there's so much manipulation on all fronts that the average retail trader like ourselves, we really have to be on our toes, really have to do our homework and study, and make sure that we don't get caught on the sidelines when these institutions start to, to do crazy stuff to us. Now, as far as this update to the AccuTrader system, these new reentry signals, I should have it available next week. Anybody that has bought or who buys will be getting that update pushed through to them, and I'll send them a notification that it's been updated, and then I'll have written instructions and also at least one video showing how to install it. It's actually a 5-minute process that I'm sure you'll have no. So if you've been thinking about getting in, now is a great time. We're going to start to see the market transition away from summer low volume, low liquidity, going into some nice volume and liquidity. So now is the time to sharpen your skills and get ready when we get back to normal trading. And I think you're going to see, if you do your homework, you're really going to start to see your successes really flow in. I'm not bragging, but I feel so much more comfortable putting the time in and having these tools to reinforce what my thinking is based on what I'm seeing in the price action and analysis. So thanks so much. I went kind of on a little bit longer than I normally do there. Hey, I really appreciate all of you watching my videos. I really do appreciate all the people who have subscribed and all the people who have bought my indicators. So thanks so much. Coach Chris signing off. I'll have at least one, maybe two videos tomorrow. I'm working on a couple of things. So see ya mañana. And remember, at hour before the market opens, we got some big news. So going to be a good day to make some money tomorrow. Take care, everyone.